Hello, everyone. There's a Christian song that gets sung in church sometimes, which is the first line is "Jesus, lover of my soul," and the chorus of the song is meant to say this: "It's all about you, Jesus, and all this is for you." Now, I'm convinced, I think this is true, that I was in a meeting once and someone was in kind of like a rapturous, eyes closed, singing this song, really into it. But they got the words wrong. And instead of saying, "It's all about you," they ended up singing, "It's all about me." And that, when I heard that, I thought it was one of those occasions in church when you think, "Oh no, am I gonna embarrass myself laughing here?" But I've been thinking about that this week as we go in another week of all that we're going through in 2020, and it struck me that in a way I think it's all about me, and that's not necessarily good. You see, I'm a man of a certain age, and I'm thinking, how many more active years have I got? And there's all sorts of things I want to do. There's things I planned for this summer, some of which have had to cancel already. Others, well, they might not be happening. Got grandchildren that are growing up and love to see them and not able to see them. And it's very easy to get absorbed in the fact that, well, it's about me. I'm not able to do what I want to do. And that led me to think of a bit of Shakespeare, actually. So we're going to have a bit of culture today. And in the play As You Like It, there is the speech that is pretty famous. All the world's a stage, and that sort of thing. And Shakespeare speaks there about the 7 ages of man. And he talks about at first the infant, lovely mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. And the next bit I like too, the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like a snail unwillingly to school. And then he goes through different age groups and he finishes up with the last scene of all that ends this strange eventful history is second childishness, a mere oblivion, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. Now, sans teeth are a bit of a worry because I've lost some fillings during this lockdown, which one day I need to get sorted out. But as Shakespeare went through the different ages of man there, I was thinking about the different ages of people going through COVID. And as I say, I can think of myself in this, but imagine if you're a school child, it must be so hard. It's easy to say, "Oh, they're all right, they're on holiday." But a lot of them were cooped up for weeks in their home, away from their mates at school. And I think teenagers especially, that must have been very difficult for. And then young people starting out in life, they reckon that it's young people that are losing jobs more quickly than anyone else, and then young families and all the worry that you have when you're bringing up young children, and that multiplied during this time with all the difficulties and uncertainty that there is. And then older people as well. I wonder what it must be like being in a care home at the moment. And if you've got all your faculties about you and you're very aware of what's going on, that must be really frightening. But what too about people who are perhaps suffering with memory loss, perhaps a form of dementia, and not really understanding what's going on, but maybe vaguely aware that no one's visiting them anymore. And so it struck me that during this time there are challenges for everyone, and I just want to encourage us to think of others today. Perhaps some of us will be praying for others in different situations. In Luke's Gospel, Jesus was asked, "What are the greatest commandments?" And he said, well, the first one is love God, but the second one is love your neighbour as yourself. And I think there's 3 parts of that. Loving God, yes. Loving your neighbour, yes. But as yourself, you've got to love yourself. And I really want to encourage us that we're all unique individuals. None of us can be like anyone else. let's all try and be the best possible expression of what God has made us to be. But let's as well try and reach out to other people. And I'd like to read a couple of verses from the book of Galatians, chapter 6. So that's St. Paul writing. And in verse 4, he says this. Verse 5, sorry, Galatians 6 verse 5, each one should carry his own load. And I read that as it makes me think that we've all got our own burdens, we've got our own responsibilities that we've got to take. But then there's another side to it, because just a couple of verses before, he says, carry each other's burdens, and in this way you fulfill the law of Christ. So I'm kind of thinking, well, what can we do to carry the burdens of others? Some of us might feel prayer is what we need to do. So perhaps pray for people in other situations than yourself. And even that, as you do that, can make you feel better about your own situation. But if there's other practical things that you can do for other people, why don't you try and consider what you can do? Now, since the lockdown and everything, whoops, I'm just reaching for something there, we've got used to quick slogans, haven't we? So the Prime Minister started with stay home, protect the NHS, save lives, and then he followed it up with stay alert, control the virus, save lives. And so I thought, well, I'm going to get in on this act. So I leave you with this: love God, accept yourself, serve others. Take care. Bye-bye.